Hello, everyone. It's Greg Lindberg. We're here today talking about my book, 633 Days Inside, Lessons on Life and Leadership. The book was written over the period of time when I was incarcerated at Federal Prison Camp Montgomery, at McMurray Base in Montgomery, Alabama. I didn't want to go to prison. No one wants to go to prison. It's not something you look forward to. I didn't look forward to it. But after coming out, 633 days, almost 2 years in prison, I discovered through that time it was the single most positive transformational experience in my life. So a little counterintuitive. Going to prison is not generally associated with a positive experience. So I wrote the book, and I'm doing these videos to help you all learn from my pain, and hopefully my pain can be your gain. You know, ideally, someone else's pain can be your gain. It's a lot easier than your own pain, right? So I'm doing this as a service to all my fellow inmates who I can benefit from these lessons as well. So, well, how could possibly prison experience be the most positive transformational experience in my life, or anyone's life for that matter? How could that possibly be? It sounds totally nuts, right? Doesn't make sense. So the reason prison was a positive experience for me, and can be for other people, other fellow inmates who choose to make the right decisions while they're there in prison, is the concept, is the hormesis. And hormesis is what biologists call, it's a fancy word for that which makes you stronger. And we all know that concept. It doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. So there's a lot of things in biology that if done in excess will kill you, but if done in a moderate level will make you stronger, and then if done at a very low level have no effect. Probably the best that we're all familiar with is exercise. If you go for a little walk and you call your little walk like 10 paces around your living room, that ain't going to cut it. They're not going to help you. Sorry. But if you go for a 5-mile walk, a 5-mile walk a day, and carry 10-pound weights with you, or maybe carry one of your children, or whatever you do, or backpack, and you decide to just go up a mountain today, and I'm going to walk up a mountain, and you do that, that's going to do that positive impact, that walk. Now, if you decide to walk for 100 days straight without food or water, it's going to kill you. That ain't going to help, right? So that is this concept of the walk. Walk around your living room, knowing you live a 5-mile walk up a mountainous terrain, excellent. 100-day drudgery, you know, the Bataan death, right? We saw that in World War II. So hormesis is finding that Goldilocks zone, which is in between what has no effect and what effect. And as it turns out, that is what drives mitochondrial biogenesis. The mitochondria are these ancient bacteria that merge effectively with the multicellular organisms that were developing 4 billion years ago. They are the powerhouses of your cell and generate your bodily energy. All your energy is generated through their electron transport chains. Long story short, these bacteria, which are inside every one of us, 10 million billion of them, there's sometimes up to thousands of them in every one of our cells, these bacteria respond to stressors. And it's natural. They're the powerhouses, and if there's a in the system, they generate more energy through a very long biological process. If they sense a food deficit, or if they sense a need for energy, or if they're freezing, or if there's a temperature shock, or if there's a need for mental energy, great mental exertion, physical exertion, through a very complicated process, these mitochondria step up to the plate. They grow in size, they grow in mass, they grow in number. Your mitochondrial copy number increases. These bacteria multiply little rabbits and generate more energy for you along their electron transfer. That's why the basis for us living organisms that are generated, where our energy is generated by mitochondria, and all living organisms, for all living organisms, their energy is generated by the mitochondria. And so, unfortunately, we humans have a cerebellum, we have analytical thoughts, and we think pain is bad. Pain's not good, starvation, bad, freezing, mental pain, social pain, all these things are bad news. Not something I need to avoid. And so we're not informed intellectually, mentally, to take on any of these challenges, these hormetic challenges. We're certainly not programmed to enjoy going to prison. In fact, you're not going to, let's get that concept, get the story out of your head. You're not a hormetic experience. Easy does not build strength. Enjoyment does not build strength. In fact, you have to succeed with this concept of easy does not build strength. You have to actually wish for an eternal recurrence of the pain, which is very counterintuitive. Who wishes for an eternal recurrence of pain? That seems totally whacked. Doesn't seem right. But if you want to motivate, and energize your mitochondria, you need to send them signals. These are genetic signals. These are signals. Epigenetic changes in your chain. Epigenetics is the environmental expression of your genes. Your genes express themselves based on their environment. I was at FPC Montgomery, my sun, and there in Montgomery, Alabama. There was a lot of sun. I got my arms got covered with, and they turned orange from freckles from being out in that sun. Our prison uniforms, we had T-shirts for prison uniforms, and my arms were out walking around the prison compound all day long, doing things that I was ordered to do and required to do. I got freckles. I didn't have freckles. I was some skin, I actually grew more hair on my arms, a lot more hair on my arms. I on the underside of my arm, the under. That was fasting. It produced growth hormone at the end of the 4 or 5 days of your fast. Your growth hormones, your growth is off the charts. It's up about 10 times, according to studies. So that's what this journey is about. If you can embrace the pain, there's enormous progress. And it's not the old no pain, no gain concept. That's an important concept that works very well. It's absolutely true in the gym. You need to break those muscle fibers for them to regenerate. But more importantly, you have to have the courage to evaluate and reevaluate your beliefs about yourself, about who you are, about what you're capable of. We're all born with a set of beliefs in life. And beliefs, for too many people, are a more secure prison and a lasting prison than the prison I was in. For most people that are not going to challenge their beliefs are a prison. And so, a medical experience is not simply physical, but it's also mental. And the mental is the most important part. Because if you can believe it, and you can see it, and you can achieve it. Thank Napoleon Hill for that. He was absolutely right. He said that about 100 years ago, and he was absolutely right. So that's my introduction here to 600 Days Inside, Lessons on Life and Leadership. I encourage you all to check it out. It's available for free download on my website, greglindberg.com. Check it out, greglindberg.com. If you want a print version, we're happy to kill some trees for you and sell you a print copy. It'll cost you like $20 or something like that on Amazon. So I do like paper. It's in prison I learned, as much as I don't like killing trees, paper is nature. Paper is mitochondria. Paper is connecting with nature. Touching a screen, you're being exposed to all kinds of electronic magnetic fields, EMF, kind of fields going into your, all kinds of light waves, all kinds of potentially things that are going to disturb your quantum coherence, and disturb things we don't even know about. So as much as possible I learned in prison, and we didn't have electronics in prison. It was very easy. We had core links, which is this email system. Emails for 15 minutes and it cut you off. So that was we had 300 inmates. And actually in my building we had 100 of us, 125 in the Mobile unit at the prison camp. And there was three core links machines, three machines for 125 of us. So you can imagine, and they had 15 minutes max per session. You had to wait 45 minutes. So you can imagine you didn't use, checking your email was a process. You had to wait in line, typically sit there and then until it was your turn. You had to, be very fast, and then you had to wait. So you did it a couple times a day. That was it. And as it turns out, that was a change in my beliefs. I didn't, we here in the free world, as we prisoners call the outside world, the free world, even though the free world is less free than most of us think. Here in the free world, we check our devices all the time, every minute. An alert pops up, you look at your phone, right? So that is highly unproductive, very, very bad habit. And so in prison, I learned I was hermetically forced, I didn't have a choice, to think, not respond reactively, but to think proactively. When you don't have your device in front of you, because in prison we don't have devices, then you have a piece of paper. You have a blank piece of paper. In fact, this was something like this is what I used in prison. And I didn't have a high-quality pen like this. This is what we call a free world pen. This world would have been contributed in prison. In prison, we had the commissary, which once you appreciate a free world pen, when you really appreciate the value of this pen. But in any case, you had this piece of paper, and this world, tabula rasa, blank slate. And this, to me, is the most motivating, creative device on earth: a blank piece of paper and a free afternoon. It took me to go to prison to learn that. I mean, in the free world, you have phones, you have iPads, you have computers, and all these other things that, that distract you. And so the lesson is, hormesis is not something we enjoy. Easy does not build strength. Hard is not something we enjoy, but it's critical. It's critical. All self-development is critical to the development of the entire species of human beings. We would not be here as human beings if the 4.5 billion years of our development was not brutal, nasty, brutish, and short, which for the most of the period it was. So again, I appreciate you listening to my ramblings here. I appreciate you checking out my book if you're interested, and you being a fellow traveler. But I hope you find it worthwhile. Thank you.